What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Thank you for joining us here for Buffalo Fanatics Film Session Live. I'm Clay Troya. This is my co-host, Kendall Mursky. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Wednesday evening here. I see we've got Chris S. in the chat. We got about 17 people in here. I'm sure we got all the regulars as usual. So thank you for those of you who have joined us this early here. Pretty good game last week, talking about the Bills versus the Packers. And it was a really solid game all around. I was very impressed. It was cool to see the starters, first of all, to see kind of what the whole starting unit did as a whole. So that was really exciting to see those guys, get back on the field and get loose again. And, obviously QB1 on the field was a really good thing to see, and to see that all those things that have been talked about him in all those practices that we weren't able to see, that those things were pretty much true, especially on that first drive, virtually flawless. And really, we've already got the comments, man. Kendall
They're already coming.
He's no longer grounded. He's back. He got his computer back.
Oh my God. I'll never live it down.
Oh, it was so great. Yeah. Thank you for everyone that was with us last week without Kendall. For those of you who don't know, Kendall was not able to make it because of a move. So everyone was making jokes that he was grounded.
The chat Kendall, held it down. They held it down for you. It was like really I was there with you. It was perfect.
And virtual pre-recorded Kendall was joining us throughout the show. So
it worked out better than expected.
Yeah. It was nice to be able to read some of the comments and interact. So thank you for those who stuck around. But for those of you who didn't get that joke, that's what that was about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tell me just thoughts as you were watching through the game, looking for players that you wanted to pick out of that film. What were some of your thoughts as you were going through it?
Well, first off, I listened to the game while I was driving to Utah, so thank God it fell on the same day, because it just ate out like a nice 3.5 hour chunk of my 10-hour drive. It was great, but unfortunately, that only meant I got to watch the game once. So I kind of heard what was happening, and then I went back and watched some things, and I mean, the Bills just look as dominant as they left off last year. I mean, obviously, we know our year ended in a loss, but it was an overwhelmingly great season last year, and we were dominating teams, especially at the tail end of the season. And Allen just came out on fire. Like, there were, plays here or there. Protection broke down, not much he could do about it. Obviously, Deion Dawkins is still getting his legs under him, things like that. So there's some excuses to be had. But Allen looked great. He looked like he hasn't missed a step. He doesn't need to knock the rust off, anything like that. He looks great. I think the Bills overall were pretty fortuitous to end up with a shutout. That Mason Crosby missed field goal. Don't know how that happened. Kickers, once they start missing kicks like that, field goals like that means they're getting close to retirement. We saw it with Vinatieri. We saw it with Gostowski. Those kind of gimmies, you don't miss those unless you're on your last legs. And I think Mason Crosby might be getting to that point. But other than that, I mean, the Bills defense did play great. And like you said, it was great to see the starters. They were probably in longer than they should have been. And the fact that they were playing against not Aaron Rodgers probably helps with the shutout. But either way, everyone looked impressed.
You're back. We lost you for a second there, but you're back.
It was great to see the defense play well, and although it wasn't against Aaron Rodgers, I still think it was a good performance by the entire team. And it bodes well for getting into the season. It's a nice little confidence boost to get into the season.
Yeah, I was very happy about it. And there was a lot of positives that I took away from it. The shutout was nice. It was nice to be able to do that. But yeah, Rodgers wasn't playing, so Take that for what it's worth.
Mhm.
The future of the team, Jordan Love did okay. He had some moments where he looked all right. But yeah, I thought the defense looked pretty good, especially some of the starters on defense were off early. The safeties and some of the corners. We got corners that were not in that game. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to see. I think probably the biggest negative takeaways for me were the ends of the lines on both sides of the ball. We didn't see as much pass rush production from those young defensive ends that we had seen those first two games. So that was a little disappointing. But I'm sure that it'll come with time, and you can't have a great game every week. So hopefully they can catch back up there and get back to the form they were for those first two games. And then the tackles on offense as well were a little shaky. Even Darrell Williams, I think, was still getting his feet underneath him. He hadn't played a single snap so far this preseason as well, correct? Am I right about that?
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
So he was still getting his feet under him as well. He missed a few ones that were a little disappointing. So Dion, understandable. Darrell, I'd like to see him get there a little bit faster than Dion, maybe, just because he doesn't have that COVID excuse under his belt there. But a lot of positives. I mean, we couldn't even really find any negatives to take away. But the thing is,
I was going to get to.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about that game is that there was nothing that was like really stood out that much in a positive or a negative way. To me, the kind of the biggest takeaway for me was just it was 10 or 11 guys doing their job every play. Maybe you get one guy here, a couple guys there that screw up on the play a little bit, but the reason that they played well is just everyone was just doing their job. And so it's, we actually had trouble pulling plays that were noteworthy just because it's like, well, yeah, all 11 guys are just doing their job here. That's not exciting, and no one wants to hear us talk about that. So
it wasn't that flashy, but it is a W nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is exciting.
It is.
It's exciting that we're able to be that team where it's just, we're just doing our job and we're marching down the field. Exactly. So that was kind of my biggest general takeaway from the game is that I'm really glad that we're able to be that team where it's just, everyone did a good job on this play. No one made any big mistakes. No one's really doing anything flashy. We're just doing what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So that was really good to see. And that was probably my favorite part of going through that game.
Yeah, that's kind of a spoiler alert. We're not going to have a least valuable player. I don't think I had more than like one bad play for any particular player. And then on top of that, like it was impossible to find a favorite play because it was just like underwhelmingly successful. It was like sneaky successful that game. Like you said, just 11 guys doing what they're supposed to do. Nothing flashy, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. When all 11 players do what they're supposed to do, you execute positively. And that's what happened for most of the game.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we want to see out of this team, especially, with all those returning starters. This is what you want to see.
Yeah.
All right. I see we got some more people in here now, up to 40 here. Dawn has joined the party. Thank you, Dawn. One of the usuals here, Lone Wolf, I see we got in here, Josh Clark, Travis Senna. We got a bunch of people up in the chat. So appreciate you all for being here. Let's jump right into the film then in that case. And let's start with Josh Allen, our MVP. Get the different background going here. Which one is it? There it is. Josh Allen. He was my MVP for the game. So we're going to start with him, for obvious reasons. Josh Allen looked so good in this game. And he wasn't trying to do too much on most plays here. He was just taking what was there. And that's what we kind of saw from him from a lot of last season. So I wanted to pick plays that were a little bit cooler than that just because it's boring when a guy drops back and hits the first guy he sees because he's open.
Yeah.
But this play I liked. And it's a quick one. It's an anticipation play. We're early in the drive, early in the game still on this one. He identifies the coverage quickly, knows what he's got, and hits his guy with really good timing. So, it's just, this is kind of your quintessential, this is what you want your QB doing. He drops back here. He's looking out straight. He's identifying safety. He knows it's cover one. He's got man coverage here, 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 and here. So he knows that he's got his guy one-on-one on the outside. So he goes over and he says, yeah, I trust my guy over there. And the timing on the throw, I mean, he's well into still running his route. And Josh Allen's getting ready to throw the ball. And then if I go a couple frames further, the ball is now just about out of his hand. And Gabe Davis has still not turned around yet. So this is just a really good timing and chemistry play here, knowing exactly where Davis is going to stop and when he's going to stop there, and then putting that ball right on the money. That's right in the face mask there. So not really much more you could ask for on this play from either of those guys, really. So that was just a nice. This is a big boy NFL player right here, and that
yeah.
was just a really cool one to see early in the game.
Keywords: anticipation and timing. You nailed it on the head. I really liked how you talked through this. Yeah, the identifying that it's a cover one, man coverage, and then because of that, you have to have some anticipation. You have to make a decision because you know it's man coverage across the board. And he sees that one-on-one with Davis, and he hits him. This is indefensible. Like, he's hit him before he's turned, and the corner is reacting to the breakdown of Davis at the top of his route. But by the time he even sees the breakdown, he can't turn his hips fast enough to even make a play on the ball, because obviously we all know Josh Allen's arm strength. He's going to get it there in a hurry, and Davis is going to, come back to the ball, meet him to the ball, close that window. And yeah, he gets the yards after the catch. The one thing that I found curious on this particular play, I'm just surprised he didn't go with Knox on the seam. But I suppose that safety over the top, he would have had to lead him back towards the middle of the field, and it would have been dangerous. Could have got Knox hurt, honestly. But yeah, that was the only other option on this play, as you can see from here. I think I don't know who that is on the top of the screen.
I think that's Sanders. Sanders at the top, then Beasley.
He's clamped.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good read. He just identifies those one-on-ones, and it's really only those two options on the right side of the field. And it looks like he gets off of Knox rather quickly and just decides with Davis. And the decisiveness is great to see, especially, after the year 3 jump that he just had. This is perhaps year 4. It's that anticipation. It's the mental side of knowing where to go with the ball and having your answers, like he loves to say, having those answers pre-snap and post-snap.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's good coverage. It's not bad coverage from that corner. He's
not.
Right. He's right there.
It's indefensible.
But yeah, like you said, it's indefensible. So that was a really good point that you made on that one. It's like, when you get to this point, you just can't defend it.
No.
Moving on to the next play. You guys have probably seen this one. This is just a ridiculous throw. I mean, the force he puts on the ball, it's a low angle of trajectory, kind of on a rope here. Really, the ball probably doesn't get higher than 15 feet above the ground here. So just really, really impressive show of his arm strength here. We did a little bit of math on this one. So apparently this one went 47.9 air yards in 1.4 seconds. It was an average of 55 miles an hour, 55 and a half miles an hour. So he probably released this thing at about 58, 57-ish miles an hour when it came out of his hand. And at the combine, he was throwing 62 out of his hand. So I think he can throw even harder than this, is the crazy part. As nuts as this throw is, to be able to get the ball out at this type of speed, I think he can throw with even more power. And it doesn't even look like he's trying. So I don't know if you'd have to ask him, I guess, but it's like, hey, how hard were you trying to throw this ball? Because it doesn't look like he's putting all his effort into it, and it is still just absolutely moving.
Yeah, he's throwing it just hard enough. If he's throwing it that hard and it's that accurate, A-okay for me. But no, this is a great play. Once again, identifying that man coverage. You see Knox coming on that dig route underneath the Davis post route on top. And yeah, he identifies it early, and he just decisively strikes it in there. Eerily similar to that Jake Kumaro touchdown last year. Only difference is I think that Kumaro touchdown was against zone. But that really goes to my next point, where this dude, Josh Allen, is going to slice up no matter what defense you're trying to play against him in pass coverage. He has the arm strength to fit it into tight windows in zone. And then if there's a sliver of separation, we know how much he likes separation type receivers. If there's a sliver of separation, he's going to just zip it in there. And this is an example of that. It's really great to see him building this chemistry with Gabe Davis, though. I got to say, that's one of the things that I loved most about this game, because Davis got a lot of run, and he's the future of this wide receiver room. I know obviously Diggs is the wide receiver room, but Davis is the future beyond Diggs. So this chemistry is very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point that I haven't touched on. And he threw a lot to Gabe Davis early on, and it was good to see that type of chemistry and building. And yeah, when that's your guy for a long time now, that's going to be his guy for the next, 4 years going through here. So, Diggs, maybe we re-sign Diggs after his contract's up, depending on his age and how he's still doing at that time. But yeah, Gabe Davis is going to be on this roster for a while here. So yeah, it was really good to see him kind of mesh up with him. And he's throwing him open on this too. Not only is he throwing this with force, he's throwing it right to where the ball needs to be. Like, just absolutely insane, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the strut was great too. I see people talking in the comments. I love Gabe Davis swag just in general. He's the quiet guy. He lets all the play on the field do all his talking for him, which I love. Yep. This next play here is just not fair, really. I don't think this should be allowed because, like, what are you supposed to do about this, man? I mean, we saw him do this kind of stuff last year, and specifically, this gives me shades of a specific play in the wild card round against the Colts, where he's rolling out to his left side. And rolling out to your left side is really tough to be able to get power on the football, because you have to twist your body all the way one direction and twist it back all the way the other direction. And for him he's throwing it like 5 yards toward the center of the field. Like, it's going 22 yards in the air, but he not only is rolling out to his left, he's throwing it to the middle of the field.
He's overran his target.
Exactly. Yeah. And just for him to be able to roll out like that and throw across his body, there's maybe 5 guys in the league that can do that. And Josh Allen's one of them. So yeah. And to know where your guys are downfield, he keeps his eyes downfield the whole time. He's not thinking about running at all. He absolutely could have and probably still would have got a first down, but he's like, I want to throw here. And so he does. And yeah, you can't really stop that. That's just insane.
No, it's absolutely perfect. Harold comes in. QB's not supposed to throw across the field like that, but that was super accurate. And you see him get it over that underneath defender and then under the over top defender. It's just, he places it right in the bucket that he has to. It's absolutely perfect. But what I do want to say specifically is this is the evolution of Josh Allen I want to see, because I feel like defenses are going to start to try to push him out rolling to the left. Thank you, Harold. Again, he has worked on rolling left. I think he's been listening to me and he's been listening to Josh Allen. No, this is something I've really wanted to see from Josh, because he rolled out to the right so much last year and he was so successful with it. I'm worried defenses are going to force him to the left. Obviously, every right-handed quarterback, it's going to be harder to make throws rolling to your left, but this is part of the game that you have to get better at, because if you're only good at rolling out to one side of the field, you're screwed if a defense knows how to play you. So it's great to see this kind of example and reinforcement, to any doubt any of us may have that he can do stuff like this. But there were a lot of missed throws in 2019 and 2020 with him rolling to his left. So this is a nice feather in the cap moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, working on the in-breaking routes and rolling left. Yep. I mean, what else has he got left,
I know there's not much. It's all little loose ends from here.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're moving on to my guy, Cole Beasley, and obviously that last play was to Cole, but we'll get back and talk to him on that. But this here play is the epitome of Cole Beasley. I mean, he had a couple other catches that I didn't include, but this suddenness, the way he just kind of subtly gets off the line of scrimmage and kind of just stutter steps you to sleep and then just runs right across your face. It's just so savvy. This is the name of his game. He just lulls you to sleep. What I really like about this play, though, specifically, speaks back to the point on chemistry, but you can see him get that inside release on his corner, and on top of that, he waits just a little bit. Like, he understands the patience of the route, and he understands he can't really turn on the burners until he beats his man, and then once he beats his man, he knows he has to get behind that linebacker and to the other side of that linebacker so he can create a window for Josh. And because Cole created that separation on its own, Josh had an easier throw. So this MVP, it's got to get split 2 ways.
Yeah, definitely. And the chemistry that these two guys have with each other is incredible at this point. But yeah, the patience in the route running is just so one of the things that Cole does better than almost anyone else in the league.
Yeah.
And when you're patient with your routes, you're usually, you can really get that guy. He gets him, kind of back on his heels, a little flat footed, by kind of slowly just, getting his way into that corner's face there. So yeah, really good route here. And then again at the end of the play too, something that Cole does really well that I don't know if he gets enough credit for is avoid the hit. He runs over the middle with a lot of traffic, a lot, and he says, I'm going to catch this ball and I think I'm just going to drop to the ground and not take this hit if I don't need to take it. So as a small guy that goes across the middle a lot, pretty smart of him to do, and keep himself on the field there.
Yeah, people may say that it's a weak wussy move, but no, that's a big brain move. You got to do that if you want to extend your career.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next play here. This is another play here. He just works with Josh Allen so well. I think this play specifically, he was designed to run an out route. I don't think this was a broken play or anything where he sees Josh rolling out to the right and he just extends the play with him. I think this is it's still on script, but this is a great catch. Like, this is an absolute great catch. Josh does not put this in a perfect spot. He puts it in a catchable spot, but not a perfect spot. And this just gives me shades back to that one-handed catch against the Cardinals earlier last year. I mean, once he made that one-handed catch, I started looking at Cole Beasley in a different light. I was like, okay, he's not just a route runner, possession catcher, no run after the catch, all that stuff. He's got a lot more to his game than he gets credit for. Lone Wolf, I'll put you up here. It's crazy how underutilized Beasley was in Dallas. And I feel like Josh Allen has definitely extended those sentiments for even players like John Brown, Robert Foster. Like, there's so many players that Josh Allen has actually made better, despite Josh Allen still getting better in that same time frame. But yeah, no, this is ultimately just great catch. Obviously, good separation by Beasley at the top of his route. I wish we had all 22 so we could see the top of his route. But you can see he's got his defender in trail as he leaves the screen, and I'm sure he shakes him towards the inside and then just breaks it out.
Yeah, I was actually going to. That was kind of my note. I know we can't see him at the top of the route on the break, but the inside release, I think, gets him. Gets that corner's hips facing inward, and that's what you want when you got an outbreaking route like that. Hip manipulation. Yep. Cole Beasley's a master at it. But yeah, and to your point, I wouldn't be so concerned of Beasley not being vaccinated, but he catches everything.
Ooh, you just went there. Wow.
Pretty good, right?
That was pretty good. I hope that wasn't in your notes. I hope
I thought about it earlier today. I was like, man, he just catches everything. And then I thought about it for a second. But just a little joke there. We're keeping it light.
Oh, that was quality. I can't believe you just did that. All right, on to the next play. So we already saw this before, but we got to talk about it in a different light. We got to talk about it in terms of Cole Beasley and his perspective on things. Contrary to what I said on last play, where it was on script, he was part of the play, he was supposed to run that out route. This is one where it's him, that chemistry with Josh Allen, seeing and identifying that Josh Allen's trying to extend the play and he gets himself open. Obviously, we know how great Cole Beasley is in zones. He knows how to find the soft spot in zones, stuff like that. This is the next layer to that because he can get open on, the design of, okay, this team's in a cover 2 shell. I know to sit right here and I'll just be right in between those guys. When the play starts moving, you got to adjust and you got to audible on the fly. And you see him do that here. I'm assuming he's running like a deep over ball kind of route, somewhere around like 10-yard depth. And he's just kind of going to sit in the middle of the zone. But once he sees Josh, he rolls with him towards the left side of the field and opens up that window, that ridiculously difficult window as is. And then Josh fits it in there. So yeah, no, great play by the two of them. It takes 2 to tango, like Zach Vaughn says, not just the quarterback, not just the wide receiver. It takes 2 to tango.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And then I'm not sure. It maybe looks like he was probably just sitting in his zone on this play, or maybe breaking to the,
I couldn't tell
the
exactly.
top of the screen. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I wish we had all 22 NFL Game Pass. It's that having the scramble playability to go and run with your quarterback like that. It's really just a lifesaver to be able to have that kind of thing where it's like, hey, I'm rolling left. I need you guys to come left with me so that I have someone to throw to and I don't have to get hit. Yeah, to have that safety blanket is really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's move on here. I kind of just did someone that impressed me throughout the game, and it's funny because he had a bad play earlier where he kind of got bullied a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna take. Are we down?
Ooh, we might be.
Oh no!
Why does this happen
already? That's fast, man. Yeah, we're down already, dude. That's pretty crazy. All right,
Harold, I know this is gonna come back up, so I need you to see it when we come back. Can't say anything bad about it.
That was pretty good timing. All right, let me pull this down, and then we'll wait till we come back up here.
Let me pull it up on my laptop.
Yeah, I got it up on my other screen here as well. Just gonna keep
cool.
refreshing it. But yeah, those of you who are watching the recorded version of this, I made a COVID joke, dude. Everyone's like, why do we get banned? But we know why, really. But yeah, for those of you who are watching the recorded version, we have been this has happened a few times where we get blacked out when we're playing film for whatever reason. It's not against any of the violations. It's just the automated YouTube robot sees something that looks like copywritten material and they're like, wait, we got to shut this down. And then by the time, someone gets to review it, it's fine and ends up staying up on the YouTube channel and there's no issue with it. So yeah, I don't know what the dealio is with this at the moment, but we're just going to hang out for a second and see what goes on, see if we get back on. Usually it takes a couple seconds. So
yeah, what we can do is we can do what we did the last time with Dawson Knox, and we can kind of preface a play a little bit and then show it real quickly and then take it off and talk about it again.
Yeah.
And then
so
worst comes to worst, we'll just go.
We are back on. I got the stream running here on my other screen. So thank you for sticking around, guys. We got booted for a second there. We're talking about Ed Oliver now. So what we're going to try to do is pull a play up, play it real quick, talk about it. And that way the YouTube robots can't get us again. But yeah, we appreciated the jokes as well, guys.
We saw
said something bad about Game Pass, made a COVID joke, and then we get taken.
Yeah, we saw all of you. We appreciate you. You guys know what's going on.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna pull this up real quick here. Ed Oliver is the guy that we're talking about. And he made a bad play earlier, and I thought that maybe I would do like disappointment for him. And then I kept on watching Ed Oliver and I was like, wait a second. Ed Oliver actually had a really good game. We're going to show this first play here. And this is he just absolutely bullies this center, man. I mean, this is a crazy play from Ed here to just completely demolish, this center here, right on the snap. I mean, aggression, strength. This ends up being the Micah Hyde interception play. I'm not sure. Ed probably didn't really have anything to do with that. It was more AJ Epinesa getting in the face there. But actually, he did have an effect on this play. I didn't even realize this. Ed Oliver, as he's pushing back the center, forces him to step on Jordan Love's foot.
My God.
I did not realize that when I put this play in here. So, he stepped on Jordan Love's foot. Jordan Love, I accidentally just pulled that away. Jordan Love ends up tripping, stumbling a little bit. And then, as we know from the rest of this play, he ends up throwing an interception to Micah Hyde downfield. So just a beastly play by Ed Oliver there. And, I mean, what did you think about this one?
Well, even more so, he stepped on Jordan Love's foot. I don't know if you saw, but the tight end coming across the zone and on the split zone block, who's supposed to get Epinesa on the other side of the formation, couldn't get there in time. And then Epinesa gets the pressure on Jordan Love and forces him into the sugar high Josh interception.
Wow, he really disrupted that play completely with that. That is so impressive.
I didn't see this on the first time either. Because you said the thing about stepping on Jordan Love's foot.
That's insane.
It's two.
Man.
It's three. He bullies the center. The center hits Jordan Love. The center also hits the split zone blocker.
That is absolutely insane, man. Yeah,
that's a bull rush.
Ed Oliver just ruined this play completely, man. He better get a cookie after this in the film room, dude. This was an insane play. I honestly just put it there because I'm like, dude, he's bullying the center.
Yeah, that's the initial point of attack.
Yeah, and then I didn't even realize that because he did that, he completely disrupted
like the entire play. Like the interception, you could say it stems from him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jordan Love
take it off.
Oh, are we down?
Yeah. No worries. We got to be vigilant, man. We got to be vigilant.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we can start setting up play too, just to talk about it.
Yeah.
No,
create analysis, and for your reward, we get taken down.
Oh man, can't talk about cookies.
Can't talk about cookies. That's an internet thing, man. Yeah, setting up play 2. Ed, I really was impressed with Ed as I was going
It's
through.
funny
People
you
that are
said the
watching the
thing. It's funny that you said the thing about the one bad play because I saw the same play and I was
Yeah.
like, maybe he's my LVP.
Yeah.
And then I kept watching and I was like, no, he played pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I was impressed honestly with what he was able to do. But yeah, and this play as well, like after that one bad play where he got okay, we're back again. After that one play where he kind of got dominated, I saw a lot of good stuff from him. So that was a nice little turnaround from him. Anyway, let's talk about the next play. I'm going to show it like twice, and then I'm just going to take it down, so that way we can avoid this whole YouTube conundrum that we're dealing with at the moment here. This play at Oliver, it's just another effort and strength play. I mean, he's fighting through what's almost a double team, and then ends up getting in Jordan Love's face, and Jordan Love gets the ball away and everything like that. But really good pressure and really good job to collapse the pocket from the inside. And now let's see if we can get it up here real quick. This is the play that we're talking about. Ed just comes in aggressive against that double team, and as soon as that guard decides to leave and go and see if he needs to help his tackle out, Ed Oliver just powers through really and punishes that guy for leaving. So yeah, really impressive, an effort play there. And kind of showing off his strength and how he can really be a beast in the trenches when he gets that good start, that good hand placement. He's just an absolute beast in there.
Yeah, when he gets going, he's really going. His active hands on that play was really the one that I liked. You can see him just like actively trying to fight through that double team. And the second that guard leaves him, like you said, you can see those hands still moving, and it just allows him to kind of like climb over the guy that's blocking him. Yeah, that kind of motor, the tenacity that he has, and then obviously if he's fresh, obviously we know how this rotation goes. If he's fresh, that get off is going to help with his initial point of attack, that power off the point of attack. And then he's going to be able to use his natural athleticism to get around all these blockers. And you can see it on this play. He just keeps fighting. So yeah, it's just, this is the year with Oliver, really. I mean, obviously I think people can still sit here and pound the table about how he and Edmonds haven't lived up to first round draft hype, but these guys are still young, and first round draft hype isn't limited to just their first 2-3 years in the league. Like, they still have a lot of years ahead of them, and I think they're just starting to hit the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and with Ed, it's it's a lot of like feast or famine plays where it's like,
yeah,
sure, there are times when it's like, Jesus, man, you just got absolutely blown up. But like that happens with other positions as well. Corners are going to get beat. You can say the same for pretty much any position. And it's like, well, you're going to get beat sometimes. So as long as the good plays that he's doing, like this one and like the previous one, as long as those are the plays that happen more frequently and are more disruptive to the game, if your defensive tackle makes a really good play, it can disrupt the game more than maybe if he gets pushed down and the linebacker has to make a play instead. So yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, as long as he can make those good plays outweigh the bad plays, then I'm perfectly fine with him getting pushed to the ground twice a game, as long as he does this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I love consistency, but if he's making like more splash plays than negative plays, yeah, I'll just take what I can get.
Yeah. Here's the third play here. He's going up against a guard. He's in more of a 3-tech position on this one, and he pretty much just like, I don't know what this guard was doing, but he just blows right past him and says, "Thank you very much. I will get this tackle for loss." And this was a really good one. I'll throw it up here and play it a couple times. He just powers right through pretty much and says, "Thank you very much. I will make that play 10 times out of 10." I know. Yeah. The speed to be able to get off as fast as he did. Hands in, see you later, 78. I'm going to go make this tackle. Yeah, just really, really good. And he's fired up about it. I love when Ed gets fired up, man. He's got that tenacity, and that's the stuff we want to see. We want to see him get fired up, get a little mad, and go hit somebody.
This play is so impressive because you can see the entire offensive line moving to the top side of the screen, and Ed's like, "No, I'll just cut it short and go inside of you, and then I'll still make the play to the outside because I'm just that athletic."
Yeah,
he's just a beast. Like, we need to give him some time. I saw, who was it? this is so true, Lone Wolf. Like, young doesn't matter when you're looking for a second contract. It does not. But it is a reason that you'll get paid more. Like, if Edmonds does ball out this year, that's why he's going to get paid more, because he's so young. He still has so much left in the tank. So you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. But it also speaks to how much room they have left to grow. And I think that's kind of the case with people like Ed Oliver and Tremaine Edmonds. I mean, man, the sky's the limit for this guy. I think he's really going to have a great year with the newfound depth and from our defensive line.
We lost
depth and efficiency from the defensive line.
First, we're losing the stream. Now we're losing Kendall.
Yeah, I got to figure out my Wi-Fi.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. This is your guy, and this was a most improved one. Let's talk about it a little bit.
So, yeah, my guy, Siran Neal, I definitely was hard on him. Shout out Chris Janke if you're in the chat or not. Hopefully you get to watch the replay. But, yeah, no, he had a really good game, more than just on special teams. But, of course, the first play I got to toss in is special teams, because he made a play as a gunner. You can see him. He's the guy actually on the inside of the field making the play. Yeah, he's just so athletic. He gets down the field so quickly. He's just so great in space, like on these kind of – it's so hard to explain, because you think, like, why isn't this guy producing on defense? And you see him make splash plays like this in special teams, and it's just like, man, where are you on defense? Like, why can't you do this stuff? And it's just like he just needs that extra bit of time to just kind of like be an athlete and just go out there and make plays. Don't think so much about scheme. Just go run, get after it. And I think that's why he's so good on special teams. But that's why I actually think he did so well this week on defense, and I'll show you that in the next two plays.
Yeah, and special teams is, a place where he's going to be getting a lot of reps in the season. So, and I thought he played really well on special teams, not only like in this game, but also throughout the preseason. I think he did a really good job on special teams, and that does make him an asset. And he's kind of a bigger nickel guy. It's you don't want, if you don't want Taron Johnson in there, you want to go with a little bit of a bigger option. He's that guy. So yeah, it's definitely good to be able to see him contribute on special teams, because he might not be seeing the field on defense as much. But yeah, definitely encouraging to be able to see him do that.
So on this next play, it actually speaks to the next point of him actually contributing on defense. And he might have to do that sooner rather than later because of the injuries to Teron, Levi, Dane Jackson. Like, this dude's going to have to step up. But this play is impressive because it's that space, out in space tackle again. And you see him, he's dropping into coverage. He reads the run very quickly, and he breaks off his back pedal very quickly and succinctly, and just breaks at the ball carrier so quickly, and then makes a sound tackle. So I really like this play. We know how the Bills defense and Sean McDermott like physical run support type cornerbacks, and that was an example of someone who can do that, Siran Neal.
Yeah, he did a good job there, recognizing the play, coming up and making the tackle, like right at the line of scrimmage there is pretty much where he made that tackle. So, really good to see that, he's able to do, and we saw him struggle a little bit earlier on. I think he missed a tackle or something in that first game, and his coverage was a little off. People were, definitely a little low on him. But, that's solid play. And, yeah, McDermott loves corners that can tackle. So,
yep, that's the truth. So this is another play. I would have liked to see him more in pass coverage, but this is a very heady play from him. He's on the other side of the formation, and he reads the play action fake very early and sees this beneath route coming from his side of the formation, and he breaks on it. And he makes a play. I don't know if this stopped the first down, but if you're watching the video, it feels like it should end up being a 3rd and 1. I don't know where they spotted it. The refs do their own thing on spots, but it looks like he stopped him short of the yardage to gain. So I really like this play. It was very heady play. You can see how he can diagnose what the offense is trying to do, and he gets out there quickly and decisively.
Yeah, when I first watched this play, I think the first thing I noticed was that's his guy. That's the guy he's supposed to be covering. They're in man coverage here. And it was just a really unfortunate play call for the Bills defense, because this guy immediately goes underneath the line and goes all the way across. And now he has to go through the biggest guy, in the backfield here.
Sidesteps him.
Yeah. So he's like, oh shit, I got to go around Tremaine and I got to go through all this traffic to catch up to my guy. But he does it. He works through all the traffic and makes sure that, he's tackling his guy. Pretty good defense. I think this was Rousseau that got in the face here. Speed and length, man. But yeah, he did a good job of working through that traffic and going out and making a good tackle when his guy was able to slip out underneath on a pretty fortunate play call. But are we back? Are we back?
Yeah,
off?
we're back off. But you were on a good point, and people will see it on the replay. So I wanted to let you finish.
I mean, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I left the play up for too long. I figured that might happen. But yeah, it was good defensive stop here by Siran Neal, and now I'm going to take it down, and we're gonna wait again.
Who's our next player?
Next player I think is Klein. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't notice him on the first play. I gotta be honest. Oh my God.
You're back.
I like that I can actually see when I leave and when I come back, though. As bad as the connection can be, that's very convenient. That I
didn't even know.
I'm coming
I didn't even know that's
on my side. I see a little, pinwheel dial, and then it's like, oh, I'm back.
Right. But yeah, AJ Klein is going to be our next guy, and I kind of put him as a guy that surprised me, just because we kind of know who AJ Klein is. We don't really expect him to be anything special or anything like that. It's like AJ Klein is our third linebacker, so
yeah, I know, right?
He's there to fill in when he needs
system.
to. Yeah, exactly, in a nickel system. So he's not going to see the field. He might get 50-40% of the snaps. That's on a good week. So yeah, we run a lot of nickel, and so he doesn't see the field as much when those other two guys are healthy. So I do like it when he's on the field, though, and I like the way that they used him in this game when he was on the field. He did have a decent play in pass coverage earlier on, and I didn't include that one in these plays that we have, but I did want to note that he did have a decent play in pass coverage. It wasn't a great play or anything like that, but it was decent enough. The guy caught the ball and he immediately got him out onto the sideline and made the
That's all I want
there,
to see from him. I'm not expecting like anything crazy in pass coverage from that dude. Like,
just don't give up a touchdown. Don't give up 10 yards. Like, it was a 5-yard out and it was fine.
We optimized his performance last year by putting him in the Lorenzo Alexander role. Once we did that, he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be your co-leader in sacks.
Yes, yeah. And so I think that's the role that he really needs to be in. If they can use him in that type of role, I think he'll be good in it. But yeah, so we're back. Hello, everyone. I knew that I left that play up for too long. I was like, I just want to get this point out real quick, YouTube. And they didn't let me do it.
How dare you?
I know. Thank you for those of you who are sticking around through these.
Yeah, seriously.
We greatly appreciate it. I'm gonna do very, very short, maybe once or twice play it through for real this time. And then we're gonna move on and make sure that we don't get taken down. Anyway, this the next guy that we're talking about, we talked about it a little bit. For those that are watching the recorded version, but we're gonna do AJ Klein, and this was a guy that I picked because he was kind of a surprise, and he had a couple plays that really popped for me. And I like the way that they use him here, and he's fast and aggressive when they use him like this, and so that's what I really like. I'm gonna throw this up. We're gonna watch it real quick. Just explosiveness, aggression, getting into the backfield. This is exactly what you want in a goal line situation. It just powers right through that tight end and makes a really good play, honestly, to go and get that running back. And he was pretty fired up about this too. And that's the way we need to use AJ Klein. He's really good like that when he's going downhill. I mean, look at how we used him in that Seahawks game last year.
Yes.
And that's just the way that he should be used, is to play downhill, play fast, go and get the guys in the backfield. And that's something that he can do pretty well. Pass coverage is a different story. We want to avoid him in pass coverage. Leave that to Matt Milano. But yeah, definitely it was nice to see a little bit of aggression and some downhill play there.
Yeah, he's definitely not the greatest out in space. He has, definitely made some leaps in that area relative to how he started last year. But yeah, that's his bread and butter right there, just shooting gaps and getting in the backfield or blitzing on pass plays. Like he's not meant to drop back into coverage. He can do it if need be to disguise our coverage, but that's not the strength of our defense, and that's not playing to the strength of our personnel. So yeah, that's exactly where he shines. Those goal line situations where he's just asked to, like you said, play downhill, shoot that gap, and you saw him get into the backfield and beat his blocker to the point of attack.
Right. This next play will be familiar. It's the one of the Siran Neal plays that we saw from earlier, where he's dropping back into coverage and makes that tackle on the sideline. We didn't talk about Klein because we're talking about it now. But yeah, Klein makes a good play here. He does a good job of attacking the guard, who's trying to go to the second level to block him anyway. So he says, I'm just going to attack you instead. I'm going to fit up with you, and then I'm going to force this play outside so that my corner can go make a tackle right near the line of scrimmage. So another one where I liked the aggression. The A in AJ is for aggression, actually. That's his first name. Yeah, it was nice to see him really attack the line of scrimmage here and then force this ball carrier to go outside where Siran Neal goes over and makes a nice play like we talked about before.
Absolutely assists it for Siran Neal. No, you're absolutely right. I never saw that on the first playthrough, but that's that veteran savvy, understanding how right in the middle of a point. Oh no, understanding how the offense is trying to block you, and then of course making it as difficult on them as possible, and then laying it up on a silver platter for Siran Neal. Yeah, that was a nice play. I didn't see that the first watch through.
Yeah, and I don't know. He was just being able to see him kind of flash a little bit was very reassuring to me because even though our linebacker depth honestly has been not bad throughout this preseason, those guys have looked pretty good. That we ended up keeping Dotson and Smith.
Yeah, so much so we had to keep 6.
I know. So it was good to see the depth there. Very pleased about that.
Yeah.
This next one's also just another aggression play, playing downhill, working through, a block from a lineman and going to make a tackle, which is so I'm excited to see what he does during the regular season in these kind of red zone defense packages, because it seems like that's where they really tended to use him more frequently, was in the red zone. So I'm excited that this is what we're seeing from him. Because it's important to be able to get into the backfield as quick as possible, and that's certainly what he does here. So I'll throw that up now, and we can watch through this a couple times. But yeah, he gives a nice little stiff arm to the tackle there that's trying to come up and block him, and then he's just downhill working through that block and getting to the running back as fast as he can. So good hands, good vision, works through, and then just makes the tackle here. It's just a really good play. You can't really ask for much more from a linebacker to do something like that.
Yeah, so that's exactly the kind of thing I think people want to see from Tremaine Edmunds. It's not necessarily like take that offensive lineman head on, just completely take him. You kind of want to acknowledge that he's there. He's there. Long arm him, keep a distance from him so you can, he doesn't fully square you up and you can go shed that block to make the tackle. And that's what I liked from Klein on that play. He saw the offensive lineman coming, but he kept his distance from him enough that he could go and make the play with his inside shoulder.
Yeah. So a good technique, savvy veteran. What more can you ask for, really? This next section that we got is pretty interesting, and it's going to be pretty interesting how we show it and talk about it because it's a little more scheme based, I think, is at least the notes that I have written down for it. So this was something that you wanted to bring up. So talk to me about it a little bit.
Well, it kind of coincides with the whole idea of what this offense is and what we thought Isaiah McKenzie was, what we thought Marquez Stevenson is, all of these people, how they fit into the offense. And I'm starting to think that Gadget is just kind of a role in this offense, but it's interchangeable. It doesn't have to be one person. It can just be however the play is schemed up and next man up. And the point I want to make here is that apparently next man up is Matt Breida, and it's not Marquez Stevenson. I think Marquez Stevenson is actually our John Brown replacement. Could he mold and develop into someone that can win on the outside on go routes or, curl routes with his threatening speed and then also be that gadget guy? Yeah, maybe. And the punt return and kick return, maybe. But for right now, I think to get the most out of Matt Breida, we saw what he did in this preseason running between the tackles, traditional running back role. He looked really good in the gadget role.
He did.
So I guess show the first play, and then I guess we'll talk on it slowly. It's just you see it really quick, jet sweep handoff, and you see the speed. This is why we signed him. The speed, get him out on the edge. No real running back decision made. It's just, okay, ball, go, run, get to the corner. That's all it is, and that's what he's good at. I mean, it's not like he's bad at anything else, but that's clearly what he's good at. So it's nice to see Brian Daboll getting the most out of his personnel because he's putting them in the right positions to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I love the notes that I had written down were more so about Brian Daboll than about
Right.
Matt Breida, because the way that he's using him, where he's got a running back lined up kind of in almost a wing position where he's back, off the line of scrimmage, and is able to motion across like that, is very creative. I mean, there are not a lot of people who say, hey, I'm going to put a running back right there.
Right.
We've seen him use tight ends creatively. We've seen him use even wide receivers. He puts Gabe Davis. He's put Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs in a tailback type of a position on a shotgun. So the way he uses his players so creatively is really cool. Just one of those little wrinkles that he has in his offense. And I think that is something that we could see McKenzie doing as well, lining up in that spot and running that type of a play. But maybe Breida brings something different that McKenzie doesn't. Maybe there's a play out of there that Breida could run better than McKenzie, out of that same formation or out of that same package. So, cool to see this kind of stuff. And I'm very happy that that Daboll's able to make good use of it.
And I guess we'll jump into the next play here, because this kind of goes off to the point where it's Daboll. Like, this isn't even Breida, because on this next play, he's a decoy. This play is made because it's just window dressing. It's getting the defense to fear the idea of that jet sweep coming across to the close side of the field on broadcast. And then it's just that quick pitch off to Zach Moss, and you just see him get the corner because the defense has to respect the opposite corner of the field. So it goes to show the way that Daboll can stretch a defense horizontally as much as Josh Allen can stretch a defense vertically. So it's really great to see how much we're putting defenses in a bind. And I know it's not like, the Chiefs offense with Andy Reid, Mahomes, and Eric Bieniemy calling plays over there, but it's getting close. Like this offense is getting close to that, where we have the offensive firepower, we have the athleticism, and we have speed. I guess we don't have the Chiefs speed, but we're getting there, and it's clearly a step we're trying to take. And that's a step that could put this Daboll offense over the top. Unfortunately, this might be the last year of Daboll, but let's appreciate what we got while we have him.
Yeah, someone mentioned here, does the QB have the option to keep it on that play and give it to the running back? I'm assuming that you were talking about the first play, and I want to touch on that a little bit, because here's the first play. I'm going to put it up real quick on the screen. This is the first play that we showed. Motion across, he hands it off. It's a fake to the running back, and we're all good and dandy. But now I didn't really need to pull it, but I did anyway. Here's the second play. It's the same formation. It's the same guys, and it's motion across, but we're faking it this time. And now we're giving it to Zach Moss. So you're ahead of the game, man, with that comment. So that's exactly the kind of thing that I was really impressed about, is that if you do these gadget plays and if you do these weird formations and you're putting guys, putting running backs in a wing position, you're putting your tight end in the backfield, you have to be able to give multiple looks out of it. And you have to be able to make sure that they can't just see this formation and be like, oh, I know what's coming. Exactly. Yeah. So he's really, really good at doing that. And really good at, not only am I going to put this weird formation in that's going to confuse you, I can do anything out of this formation because this guy that I have in this wing position is an athlete. So I can just do whatever I want with him. So that's something that I thought was really cool to see, and just kind of excites me and also saddens me a little bit that he's going to be gone.
I think it took our streak
again.
I don't know what we're doing now.
Nothing. That was not up for very long. I don't know. Apparently, we just can't talk about football because that was not long at all, man. I even took it down between plays. Anyway. We're really just going to limp through the rest of the show here at this point. I feel like Greg Jennings. Yeah. Maybe I'll just draw it on a whiteboard. This is the play. Okay. This is Breida here.
This is Breida. Daboll's up here in the booth. Yeah. And he's calling great plays.
I mean, seriously, this is absolutely ridiculous. We gotta figure out how to get past it. We haven't really had issues with it. Too much recently. We were doing fine with it. So this is a little upsetting, I guess you could say. we're back at least. That was a quick one, but
sorry, everyone. My God.
Yeah. Hi, how's it going, everybody? We're back. We're limping through the rest of the show. We're looking like Greg Jennings about to run through Darren Sharper, one of the hardest hitting safeties in the league. Yeah, we're just talking about how much we like Daboll. I don't know when we got out, but we love Daboll. We're very sad that he's probably not going to be with us again after next season. Do we only have one more play? Is this the last play?
It's the last Breida play.
Okay, I think it's the last play of the session. So we're
gonna get it.
We're almost there. This is another one of yours, and this is another kind of another Daboll play. Why don't you talk us through it before we bring it up?
It jumps off the point where you were trying to say you got to keep the defense on its toes, and you got to give different plays out of the same looks to keep them on their toes and keep them from cheating. And this is a similar kind of thing to that, where they're bringing Breida in that jet motion, but they're not calling the snap while he's in between the tackles. Instead, they're calling the snap right after he clears that tackle. And then because of that, he's in a perfect position for a nice little screen pass. And I saw some people, I think it was Caitlin Blunt and Truth to Hearts, I think they were talking in the chats about how bad the Bills are at screen passes to the running backs, but they've been good to screen passes to the wide receiver. And this is kind of a nice little wrinkle that Daboll can put in there to get Breida the ball in space as a receiver. That worked. I said receiver and cut off perfectly. Yeah. But no, that's my point. Yeah. Why don't you toss the play up so people can get a nice little visual of it.
Okay. We're going to speed run this one. You guys ready? Okay, ready? Here's the play. He's running across. Oh, it's in slow motion. Oh my God.
Yeah, I put it slow.
It's a screen pass to Matt Breida. Really good. He dodges the first tackle. Let's watch it one more time. Oh my God, it's so slow. It's so slow. We're almost there. Okay. Good play. Deion Dawkins got a little caught up in a little bit of traffic there, but yeah, it's a cool gadget play. Send him in motion before the snap this time, and then get him the screen pass there. And we didn't get taken down yet again from that play. So
they'll give us retroactive punishment once they see that it's up, and they'll be like,
yeah.
So, anyways, I thought it's encouraging to see that we're using Breida in a way that's going to optimize and maximize his performance, because I think we can all agree that he was leaving a little bit more to be desired as a traditional running back, and this is a way that we can squeeze a little bit more value out of him.
Yeah, definitely. And, he made the roster, so clearly he's good for something. So I at least hope that they use him and they put him on the field and use him in these type of gadget situations. They have so many guys that they can use for this now. If McKenzie, is healthy by the time the season starts, and then you've got a guy like Marquez Stevenson who could probably do stuff like that as well. So it's nice to be able to have all those options. But I would like to see him see the field a little bit, and then maybe use that speed ability when it's needed. And maybe he can break one this year. That's really all we need. It's just one or two big plays can really change a game, and one game can change a season. So it's really all we need is for him to just contribute when he can and where Daboll wants to use him. And luckily, I think Brian Daboll's got a very large brain and can figure out how to do that. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because I think what this offense was missing was those home run splash plays that didn't come from the right hand of Josh Allen. So many of those great plays came from 20-yard plus air throw. It's got to be something more than that. The offense needs to get more multiple, and by stretching the field horizontally pre-snap in the way that Daboll does, it opens up windows for Allen as well. It opens up windows for, if there is a fake on that jet sweep, the running back in the box. The box is then lighter because someone has to trail with the guy in jet motion. So it's really, really encouraging to see this offense continue to grow year after year. And honestly, I'm hoping that Josh Allen is keeping a lot of this stuff in his mental Rolodex so he can pass it along to his next offensive coordinator.
Yeah, absolutely. And, who that is remains to be seen. I think he's probably in the building already.
Hopefully.
Because, Josh Allen can probably contribute a little bit. He knows what plays he likes, and he knows what plays he's seen from Daboll. But, as long as when we play Daboll, maybe don't run those ones. But, hopefully he's not in our conference. I would love to see him anywhere else but the AFC, and maybe make an NFC team good. Bring a little bit of talent to that side of the league, because
that would be cool.
It's a little bit lopsided at the moment in the AFC. We're talking a lot about Ertz in the chat, man. What's going on? Are we still talking about Ertz? Still?
So here's the thing. Do you want to talk about the roster at all? Because I think this is obviously all stemming from the Hollister stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it a little bit. I think Bot is going to go over it as well. Bot, who's going to be on here just in about an hour. Is he going at 8, right?
Yeah.
So Bot's going to be on in an hour, and he'll talk about this as well. But we can touch on it briefly here as well. So Hollister was cut. And that has kind of been the big story. That's the big surprise cut. A lot of guys thought he was going to be a parking lot guy, where, kind of like Reed Ferguson was, where it's like, hey, we're going to cut you just real quick here because we got to do some stuff. And then they threw Marquez Stevenson on IR. And then they said, cool, we got that roster spot back. Reed, once you come out of the parking lot, come back into the building. So we thought that was what was going to happen with Hollister as well. And he's still in the parking lot. So, I mean... It's tough. I personally don't think Zach Ertz is the answer. I don't even know if they'd be willing to trade him at this point because Tyree Jackson got hurt. And he was looking really good. He made the team. Good for him. I'm very happy for him, and he well deserved because he was playing really well in the preseason before he got injured. And somebody else just got hurt too. Richard Rodgers, is that who got? I can't remember.
Maybe I know he's on the roster.
Yes,
I didn't know if he got hurt.
They have injuries at the tight end position.
Goddard's built like glass, anyways.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him over there.
I mean, that's why they're looking to move on from Ertz in the first place because Goddard. Yeah. But I mean, if they're both injury prone, you might as well have both.
Yeah. So I liked Hollister as well. But I think even if he was on the roster, it might end up being a Croft situation where he's just inactive every game for no real reason, where it's just, hey, we're just going to keep this guy inactive. And Croft is a good tight end. I think he's going to play really well in New Jersey this season.
Nice.
With the Jets there. So I don't know. It's interesting to see. I mean, there's a point where it's, maybe he's not as good of a blocker, Hollister. Tommy Sweeney did make the roster, correct? He's the other guy there.
Yes, he did. And apparently they're not too concerned about his injury.
I mean, that's good news.
It is good news.
I do like Tommy Sweeney, and I think Tommy Sweeney's a good blocker. I think he can run the plays he needs to run. More of that Lee Smith replacement type of a guy. Definitely not as good of a blocker, but definitely a better athlete as well. So
exactly. Yeah. Well, you're not getting there, you're getting here. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Knox is still tight end number 1. He's good. He's a lot better than people give him credit for. And then Gilliam as well. He's an athlete. He's not a tight end. He's not a fullback. He's just an athlete, man.
They're gonna line him up everywhere. They're gonna line him up wherever they need to.
I'm excited.
And he's gonna contribute on special teams.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about him last week, and the fact that he just lined up in the backfield and shotgun and took some handoffs and was running the ball fine. So really cool to see that he made the team and has that versatility as well. He'll contribute on special teams. But yeah, I mean. We're not going to get Zach Ertz. If we get Zach Ertz, I will be thoroughly surprised.
I will be too at this point
because it's been so long. I feel like Rose, and it's been 70 years. But yeah,
I gotta say, Clay, it's a shame we got taken down so much because you're on fire today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean. We're approaching an hour here. We're over an hour at this point. So for those of you that did stick around for today, we thank you very, very much. And for sticking around through our ups and downs in our battle with YouTube and the NFL. But we love you, NFL. We love you, YouTube. Please don't take us down anymore.
Game Pass, we love you. We just want more.
We love Game Pass. We're so excited for all 22 to be out for the regular season like you promised us. But yeah, so before we go, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor, which is NordVPN. So if you go to thebfvpn.com, you can get a really good discount with NordVPN and stay safe with your internet browsing, and make sure that people aren't pinging your IP address. It keeps you safe with all kind of stuff that you're doing. You're sending out important documents. Everyone is buying stuff online these days. You got to keep yourself safe. So go to thebfvpn.com. You can get yourself 70% off for the 2-year deal. It's like a $11 value monthly, and you're going to get it for less than $4. So it really is a good deal, and go take advantage of that. Kendall and I both have it. Netflix, I will say, is getting very difficult to work around. They're getting better. So I've got to use a few more tricks here and there to get past their walls that they've been putting up for me. They must be fans of the show. Unfortunately, but yeah, NordVPN, thebfvpn.com. Go check that out. NordVPN. I don't have it running. I don't have NordVPN running.
Maybe that could have stopped it.
Maybe if I had NordVPN running, our show wouldn't have gotten taken down. So I'll have to give a shot next time and see if NordVPN can protect us from something like that as well.
Yeah, I didn't think that was included in the protection plan. I thought it was, just IP address getting hacked, all that.
Can you protect me from YouTube as well? We love you, YouTube. We love you. Anyway.
Nice. Good stuff.
Don't say cookie. Yeah, I didn't talk about how NordVPN hides cookies as well, and your caches. So, thank you guys for sticking around and joking around with us through our ups and downs on the day. And thank you for sticking around for the show here. I don't know. Are we going to have a show next week? We don't have a game to watch.
Yeah, I know, right? So, I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe we'll just have a talk show. If we have the time, maybe we'll just have a talk show. We'll see. We'll see what we do.
Maybe we'll check out what the Steelers got going on. Take a little bit of them. Talk about the Steelers.
That's a good idea. That's smarter than just talk showing.
maybe we'll preview that game a little bit. Maybe talk about a few players in general that we liked over the preseason as well. Maybe talk a little more broad, a little more scheme, and what we could be seeing from that standpoint. So join us again next week. We've got Z-Bot coming on at 8:00. So don't go too far. Get yourself some food, get yourself a drink, and then come right on back and watch Z-Bot. He's got a good show coming up as well. I'm pretty sure he'll be talking about the roster like we talked about before. So thank you again for everyone that is joining us. Go follow us on Twitter at Buffalo Fanatics, BFLO Fanatics. You can follow me on Twitter over here at Clay Troya. We've got Kendall over here. You can follow him at Mursky Kendall. We're getting good at it. You can follow him at Mursky Kendall. We're going to try to put as many of these clips after games. We've both been pretty busy these past couple weeks. So after games, though, we're going to try to get as much film out on Twitter as we can and put those in threads so that anything that we can't cover in these shows, hopefully we'll be able to cover those on Twitter so you guys can get a more broad idea of what we're doing out here. So thank you again for everyone that stuck around with us. Until next week, go Bills.
Go Bills.